Yo, what's up everyone? It's Pisces Pixie. This is gonna be my video for 2023. The messages that you need to hear for your 2023, going into the themes that you can come to expect, paying reverence to the hard work that some of you guys have done for yourselves in 2022. I know a lot of us at the start of 2022 and the end of 2021, we were like, oh my God, this year is gonna be so good. And it didn't really last. It pretty quickly fell on its ass. And I know so many people who felt like they've had the heaviest time of their life in this past year, even though there has been so much goodness for people and so much positive change and things coming to be. There's also been a lot of heaviness and a lot of hard work. There's been a lot of confrontation in regards to your own life choices, you making decisions on relationships, your career paths, what really makes you happy. And in this pick a card, I want to pay reverence to what you were really learning in your previous year and how that is unlocking blessings for you in the year to come. So sit back, enjoy, and listen to your pile. And if you are new here, hello, my name is Pixie. I am a full-time reader, astrologer, teacher, and Twitch streamer. I've built an amazing community of well-rounded, diverse people who are very much into their spirituality, their self-growth journey, but also know how to have a laugh, play video games, and chill the fuck out. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you are interested in joining the community a little bit more, because Twitch culture is very different from YouTube culture, you can come and join our Discord server, or you can come catch me live on Twitch in the descriptions below. Either way, I hope this message serves you well, whether you are new or whether you have been here for a while. If you would like to see more of my content, then please go and follow my Patreon and go and subscribe there, because I do tons of picker cards, written messages, and I teach a lot of different subjects over on there, such as astrology, energetic hygiene, and other spiritual topics. But without further ado, please go ahead and choose your pile if you are new to picker cards. Each card represents a message, and down below you will find timestamps relating to when your pile starts. Take a deep breath, tune into yourself, tune into your heart, and allow your eyes to scan across the piles, and with a deep cleansing breath, choose the pile that makes sense for you. And if you're drawn to more than one, that's fine. You can listen to both. If you're drawn to all three, then enjoy the entire video. All right, I'll see you in your pile. Bye. Yo, what's up, pile one? I see here that you guys are wrapping up a cycle around you being overstimulated, overworked, and very sensitive, and sometimes feeling a little bit raw and a little bit picked at. And it kind of gave me this sense of like, you are an artist, you are sensitive, you are deep, but you push yourself out of the regeneration and rejuvenation that you need in order to keep your spirit in balance. And in 2023, it feels like there is this moment where you are, and I feel like you're already working through any limiting beliefs that you've got, and anything where you feel like something was a tragedy or something wasn't supposed to happen or things aren't supposed to be a certain way. In 2023, it feels like there's a full circle moment of realizing why things had to be the way that it was. Even though it was uncomfortable, even though it was painful, it had to be that way so that I don't even want to say like just because you could become the person that you needed to be, but you are going to be coming to an understanding of why. And it's not going to be a painful understanding. It's going to feel like, you know what, this darkness was necessary. And sometimes, pile one, you guys push yourselves and hold yourself to expectations that ignore what you've really been through and ignore your sensitivities. An example of this can be you are a sensitive person and you expect yourself to be super extroverted and talk to people all of the time and be there for people at a drop of a hat. But the reality is that you need more time to regenerate your energy and rejuvenate your energy. And if you don't, you end up irritated and picking yourself apart. It's interesting that the vulture's in the middle, because vultures are a very misunderstood creature and they are vital in the ecosystem to prevent the spread of disease. So instead of things rotting, it like picks it apart. But the thing is, when you are rotting in your own life, you will find other people kind of picking at you. And you may start to notice during 2023, and I feel like this is a cycle with this cosmic egg. It feels like you already are starting to understand that you are destined to heal this. I hope that makes sense. It feels like you are destined to heal this, or you've been realizing that you cannot avoid this. You need to heal this pattern where you may let yourself run dry. And when you're running dry, there might be literally a feeling of you are rotting, and then people might literally come in and pick at you whilst you are in this low space. I don't want to call it low frequency. It's just like you're not feeling so good, and it's almost like you become this easy target for things to pick off your flesh. And this is not out of spite. People aren't doing this out of spite. This is just a natural energy that exists in this world when something is in a more vulnerable, rotting space. It's so it doesn't create disease. It's a weird way to look at it, but it's trying to show you the importance of rejuvenation. It's trying to show you the importance of you taking in the calm, taking time out to really connect in with your deeper forces and your intuitive feminine power and alone time, and mostly just taking care of this overwhelm and overstimulation, because you are such a deep soul. Pile one, you guys are such a deep, deep soul. And that's what you love about yourself. That's actually what you admire when you're in that flow of being in your deep space where you are nourished and you flourished and you have presence. Your presence is there and you're not rotting and you're not easily picked at. That's where you make the greatest contributions to your friends, to maybe your career path, to life itself, to the cosmos, with the cosmic egg. This is beyond just, I feel like your purpose, of this is kind of what you offer, but you've been at odds against it. And this is coming to a head in 2023 of like, you know what? Like, I'm going to clear this pattern. I'm going to finalize it. The cosmic egg is kind of like the last card in this deck that symbolizes a completion. And I kind of want to say like a clearing of karma that then builds and births something new. And I have some cards about why is this your theme for 2023. And we have idyllic times, the garden, and paradise. So you've had to go through these lessons in order for you to, I feel like, honor your intuitive nature, especially with the owl, and find your own sense of paradise. The next card is soul radiance. So the reason why you need to have needed to learn what you've needed to learn and why these are your themes is so that your soul can start to radiate. And this kind of confirms the intuitive hit I was getting about you guys feeling like picked at. And when you're more sensitive, when you're more overwhelmed, when you're more emotional, you don't feel this energy of your soul radiating and you feeling confident and on top of things and able to do what it is that your soul's asking of you to do, or even that you desire to do. So this is to support your ability to radiate as the soul that you are. The next card is grateful optimism, a joyous view of the future. So this is going to support your optimism, sometimes pile one, you guys have, I do feel like you find a streak sometimes where you feel good. And that's literally just because you've self-cared. It's mostly because you've respected your sensitivities, or you've taken time out to nourish your sensitivities, so that you can return back to the world and, do it from your energy, because you guys are so sensitive. If you don't build up a good sense of your own energy, you'll just absorb everyone else's and then become depleted and irritated and raw. And that makes sense. If you're in that space of being irritated and raw, then you're not going to feel so joyful about the future. You're not going to feel so optimistic about your future. But as you focus on these themes, like this is something that's going to be a result of that, you're going to start to feel more understanding as well, like a gratitude of yourself and feeling grateful for who you are as a person. And you're going to fall out of this pattern of you needing to follow the demands of what you feel like is being asked of you energetically, because this feels very unconscious. This feels like you do this automatically and then you get mad at yourself. I love how then we got hidden knowledge. Now this is funny because it's hidden knowledge, Akashic records, silent understanding. And it does feel like this is something that you've been battling with for a while, and you keep trying to come to more and more conclusions about why this is the way that it is. And I do think that this card is kind of saying that this understanding might be beyond your knowledge right now. I think the tidbit that some of you can really take and just accept for now, which will then allow for further understanding, is that you are a sensitive soul and you need your space. You need your time. You need your time out. You need to nourish. And also with this Akashic records and silent understanding, sometimes that is just deep down energetically, you just understand it. You may not have also been around people who deep down silently and energetically understand you. And that's why it feels like you're being attacked. That's why it feels like there are vultures around you just kind of waiting to pick you off, because you don't feel understood for the person and the soul that you really are. And I would say it's important for you to start trying to find spaces and places where you get this understanding. Now, this might not always look like a person outside of you. This could be yourself and finding this understanding in yourself. Something that might also be beneficial for you is working with an energetic healer, working with a mentor, working with a guide that can really speak to this part of you, pile one, because I do feel that you guys have intellectually and I almost feel like therapeutically trying to understand where certain things have come from. But I do feel like a big energetic healing happening with this card. So if you've been drawn to maybe getting a reading or having a mentor, having someone who regularly works with you on an astral plane, on an energetic level, to help you understand your sensitivities, or even just having that type of influence around you, will be really beneficial in 2023. And then we have the card of achievement. This, in the grand scheme of things, is all to help you achieve and build something for yourself, building something that you can be proud of. And I also feel like building the life that you really want. Wouldn't be surprised if this is tapping into building a career that you really want, a career that's fully satisfying for you. I have no doubt that some of you listening to this may be spiritual practitioners, sensitive souls that are going to go on to helping other people. And it's so important for you to understand and learn your balance and learn how to take care of yourself so that you can help in the best way that you truly can. And understanding too that as you do withdraw and take care of yourself, that actually is very healing for other people. That's actually very healing for other people. But sometimes you don't do that because you are afraid of loss. You are afraid of lack. You feel like if you retreat, you're not achieving. if you retreat, then you will lose the love of people. You will lack what it is that you're wanting. And I do feel sometimes you fear the failure, you fear what the consequences will be if you step into your full power. And I know sometimes, and I'm sure sometimes you observe with people, you know, powerful people who are like, yes, I'm in my soul power. Yes, yes, yes. And they're so strong in themselves. But you guys, pile one, it's not about you trying to force your energy to be what it's not. Because the way that you guys are healers is in a more receptive way. Those people that you admire in their strength, you can be that way in your own way, but you are more flexible. You are more, feels like you are a flowing river that's trying to accept its flow. And like, you're not performing for the rocks. You're not performing for the people that drink from your waters. You're not performing for the waterfall that you go down. It's you just coming to terms with what it is that you are and trusting life. Oh my gosh. Trusting that you are what you are. You're not meant to be anything else. You are not meant to be anything other than who you are. And I almost want to say this is not with force, but it's almost with a stillness. Maybe instead of the river, you're more like a pond. And a pond is just as beautiful. I think sometimes in the Western world, you know, we see these gushing rivers, you know, that seem so powerful, that have so much movement. But a pond provides so much serenity. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense for some of you. I really do. We're going to go into now just some themes as well, just more adding on to this. So we have surrender to prayer, surrender to trust, and surrender to your soul's path. Oh my gosh, it has a river on it. I didn't even realize. Wow, okay, that's awesome. Wait, hang on, wait. There's also a pond. Okay, there are two types of you here. There are ponds and there are rivers. Wow, what the fuck? Oh my gosh. Oh, give me a second. You, pile one, this is just so much confirmation of what I've just said. So we have surrender to prayer. Some of you are deeply spiritual and you may be wrestling with it. You may very much well be wrestling with it. And you have surrender into prayer. Give yourself over completely to prayer. When you pray from your heart, you will be heard throughout the universe and answers and support will arrive. When you are struggling with feeling like you can't take care of yourself, when you need the nourishment, when you fear that you're going to lose things, when you fear that you're going to lack things in the process of you taking care of yourself, pray. At every moment that you're struggling, please pray. And praying doesn't have to be a religious thing, but it's just asking truly for help from even just your own heart. Even it's almost like you can, even if you're into psychology stuff, you can just see it as you making a plea to your subconscious to be on your team. For those that are more into the universal truths, this is you asking spirit, asking the life force of the world that runs things to support you, to bring things to you, to bring the knowing that you need, and to alleviate as well. You can ask it to bring you strength. And sometimes that can look like, give me the strength to take care of myself. Give me the strength to do what I need to do to nourish my soul so that it can radiate. Trust yourself in your own decisions. Don't be swayed by other people's strong opinions about what to do. Take action and be confident that you have chosen the right path. I fucking love this card so much because I felt so much of a need for you guys to trust in the grander scheme of things, to trust in you being who you are. And yeah, like I had that thing of like, you know, you can be inspired by or even be swayed by stronger personalities, but at the end of the day, you need to understand and accept and nourish who you are and protect who you are and trust who you are. I would not be surprised, and I do feel if anyone is resonating deeply with this, come and get a one-to-one reading with me, because I create tinctures, flower essence tinctures, which help people on an energetic level with their path. And I feel like with this, it's definitely, you're very unconsciously influenced, and it's like you're trying to build strength, but you can't force yourself to be something that you're not. It's like you don't want to turn a pond into ice, and a pond can't become a rock. Like a pond is a pond, but it needs to be certain in its pondness. I can't keep referring to a pond, but it's just what's coming through. And if anyone wants more guidance or just something more personal, please come get a reading with me. My coffee shop is open. Or again, also on Patreon too. I have a lot of like resources and things like that there, because you guys in 2023, you are surrendering to your destiny. You are surrendering to your soul's path. Your life's journey has been perfectly designed for your soul's growth. Embrace every lesson and every moment. Pile 1 in 2023, you are coming into yourself. You are coming into your own sense of power. And it's not about what everyone else thinks power is or what other people look like when they're in their power. This is about what it means for you to be in your power, what that means for your life. Because it does feel that there is a greater sense of peace that is involved with you feeling powerful. No anger, no resentments, no being picked at, no being bombarded, no being irritated, softly saying no, being okay with what it is that you are and not having to become what others want you to be. So finally, what blessings are coming your way this year? Pile 1, we have enthusiasm and friendship. A single rose can be in my garden, a single friend, my world. You know what's really beautiful? Because some of you listening to this might be very into my community, but my community that we run here is called The Garden. And there has been 2 mentions of the garden. We have the garden here, and then we have friendship, enthusiasm, and the making friendships. And we have a garden here as well. So some of you might be have been pondering, how do I make better friendships? How can I connect with people? And, you know, my community might resonate with you. And if you're already into it, maybe you want to change your approach to how you're going about things with the right type of self-care. But you are going to be finding your enthusiasm for life again because you have nourished yourself. And there's also that element of friendship. I feel like having friends that support this, and it's not necessarily about never having friends that vulture you, because that's almost just like, and this is a really weird, is it weird? This is something that might be kind of strange or sound kind of odd, but this is a philosophy of mine that sometimes when we are carrying a certain energy, it attracts a different energy. And this is not just like you're manifesting. This is just the natural order of how energy moves. And when you are underfed or irritated and empty, like with no, I don't know. Let's go back to the pond. If your pond is empty, if it's all dried out, like animals, they're always going to come to you to drink. They're always going to come to you to drink. And this is not about stopping animals per se. Obviously, if you have like a fucking elephant slurping up the entire well, then that's completely different. This is more about you replenishing your water, okay? Because sometimes you isolate and don't make good friends because you are trying to protect your energy. But it's a different perspective. It's not about focusing on protection or focusing on ending connections that drain. This is simply shifting. If your attention is on you replenishing, then you just simply don't respond. You just simply don't reply. You don't feel guilty for it because your focus is on, well, I'm just taking care of myself. I'm just doing what is necessary for me. And it doesn't become about you worrying so much about you losing people and you having to avoid people and you getting irritated at people. The next card, oh my gosh, the next card is destiny. It is not in the stars that hold our destiny, but in ourselves. 2023, you guys are stepping into your destiny, or you're at least coming to an understanding of what you are destined to do. Wow, what a powerful card. Then we have rainbows and messages. Your next blessing in 2023 is about you finding your way even through low moments. Because of your sensitivities, you are going to be someone that has tendencies to your down, you're feeling your down moments. It's hard to track when you're getting depleted or when you're getting low. It can be difficult. And this says, when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. And I do feel that for pile one, in 2023, you're going to stop being so negative. Not as simple as that, but that's what's going to be. Because you do get into these hopeless phases. You feel hopeless, especially when you're drained, especially when things aren't going your way, when you don't trust, when you're not praying, when you don't trust your soul path. You can start to feel lost. And this is about you finding more easily reasons. And I feel like just even to be able to develop the feeling of, you know what, this is okay. I can deal with a couple bad days, and I know it's fleeting, because you can take those days of like, okay, well, I guess we're just self-carrying the shit out of myself today then, and this is about you also, I think for some of you too, it's like, if you're self-employed, it's like, if you said that you're going to do something, but you don't feel up for it on the day, this is about you saying, hey, like, I'm going to move this for now. I'm just going to postpone this until I'm feeling in my energy. And you do worry that that's going to cause a stink, but it really won't. It really won't. Not as much as you think it's gonna. Like, this is going to be good for you. And then we have delicate, fleeting beauty. When life is not coming up roses, look to the weeds and find the beauty hidden within them. And I feel like the blessing here is that you guys are going to find contentment and peace with where you are and what your life actually is. This is not you striving to be or become or have something that is not you. And, there's like a vibe coming through of like how you can, I want to be this thing with like millions of pounds and millions of, followers and all this stuff. And it's like, no, pay attention to the beauty that is your life. Stop searching for other friends when there are friends right in front of you. And in the case of like, there are good friends and good connections that just need nourishing, that just need attention. You just need attention. You just need nourishing, because you can get into a pattern of trying to chase the next best thing or trying to chase this big goal rather than just being okay with a little bit less. It's almost like minimalism in a way, and leaning on those that you love. And I feel like some of you are coming from, very traumatized backgrounds where there was a lack of resources, a lack of availability. And I think some of you are fucking avoidance. Oh my God, sorry for the F-bomb. But some of you are avoidant. Like, do you really need new friends? Or are you just avoidant of intimacy? Do you really, need this really fat paycheck? Or are you just a workaholic running away from the things that truly matter? There's a lot to think about there, but without getting too deep, I think we already got too deep, haven't we? But your blessings, pile one, you're going to be stepping into your destiny. I think the things that you have in your life are going to feel a lot more fulfilling by your perspective, and you're going to find more fulfillment and nourishment in yourself. And wow, stepping onto your soul's path though. I mean, everything is your soul's path, but it's going to feel a lot more prevalent, and you are going to have to trust it. I hope this message makes sense. Let me know if you are a pile one, and if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, please drop a comment, and if you aren't already, come and join our Patreon. We have an amazing community over there full of like-minded souls and just cool people, just really, really cool people. But I have always strived to kind of, well, not always strived, but I've always wanted to have my own little like soul tribe. And we're definitely in the making of that. And I am very happy. I am very, very happy with that. But take care. All the blessings, all the love, pile one. And I will see you soon. Yo, what's up, pile two? Your core themes in 2023 is a lot about reinvention of yourself and making yourself feel alive again and strong enough to say no to certain types of BS, saying no to certain things that are happening in your life, learning how to be more direct. Because I was getting this vibe that some of you let things build. You let things build and you start to get irritated. And when you get irritated, then you might lash out, or I feel the sense as well, you retreat and then you start to brood on things, and your relationships just aren't the same when you interact with them. It takes so much more work to get a relationship back on the foot that you want it to be on after you go through a time where you've not been direct, and it's almost like it damages your relationships. And there are a few people who handle this from you, right? There's a few people who either they are not energetically sensitive, so they do not feel the moods that you get into and the ways that you get into, the ways that you start thinking, the irritation that starts to happen. They don't get affected. So it's like, oh, those relationships are fine. But then there are other types of relationships where you like the people, but when you're just irritated, and so, maybe a comment gets said, or maybe they've done something that might not be personal against you, but it's something that bothers you. You are learning to be more direct. And the shark card here. So sharks, it's so funny because I have like a really deep fear of sharks. And when I've started to understand this card, it makes sense. And it's this feeling of when things are just lurking in the background, when something is kind of approaching, you might feel like somebody around you is being shady or sly. And it's this creeping feeling of there is something under the water that you aren't addressing. And shark energy, I mean, sharks aren't, but as long as you know it's there, like you can keep safe. As long as you know it's there, you can kind of get out of the water, you can get on your boat. But shark energy, it's when you aren't being direct, you're not being honest. And maybe some of you in pile two in 2023, this is about you feeling confident and strong enough to be a bit more direct about what the issues are. And there's this vibe of you wanting to not just expose yourself and your habits and your routines, but also your patterns. I feel like in 2023, you're really going to be having a bit more of an exposing year of like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. And you might have found yourself in previous years, just being quite a hesitant person, hesitant to be honest, not really feeling like you can totally be yourself or feel like you can say what you really want to say. And it might be tempting for you to pretend like nothing's wrong. But this is destructive. When it's out of balance, it can be destructive. And it's important for you to start being more honest so that I think in that honesty, it's going to start to show you your desires. And you are revealing the true nature of things. And then with the Panther, this is about a necessary purge. This is about getting rid of all of the things that are unnecessary. Because in 2023, you're not going to stand to see yourself or your growth stagnate. And the thing is, sometimes you'll find almost like when you are not honest, when you're letting things fester, there'll be this energy that pounces into your life where things get uncomfortable and unexpected changes happen, and it can feel really devastating. But then after those changes happen and after those awkward or uncomfortable confrontations happen, you really do get rid of what is unnecessary. And these kind of experiences, it makes you it makes you a better person, and it does lead you to a brighter place. And I do feel like this is about, you know, this card in its healthy energy, it's about you being brave and productive. You being brave, productive, direct, changing. And some of you have needed this confidence and this bravery. I will call it bravery because some of you are looking for confidence and like certainty, but this is about you being brave. This is about you being brave and courageous and saying, you know, if something bothers you, of like, hey, I don't like it when you talk to me like this. You know, it is a risk. It's a risk. Oh my God, what will I lose from this? Oh my God, are they going to lash out at me? Oh my God, will they not be friends with me anymore if I say this? Can I handle the fallout of this? But if they're a necessary, this is just an example, if that's a necessary person in your life, they'd be like, oh shit, sorry for talking to you like that. Didn't realize, didn't know. Oops, you know, I'm sorry. And people who are like, well, I can talk to her, I want to talk. It's like, all right, it kind of just, it helps the trash take itself out. And this is also, you know, not just in regards to people, but a lot of different areas of your life. You are going through some huge transformations. You're going to be going through some huge transformations in 2023. And these are the things that I feel like you get excited about them coming, honestly. Because I think in 2022, you have just struggled with this stagnation and you keep going through the same cycles. And now it's like, you know what? This needs to end. This needs to go. Because if you're continuing to attract people and situations that feed your imbalances, you are going to end up constantly going through cycles of stewing on people. And just, you are sensitive. You're a sensitive person. You need time to cool down. And sometimes it's like you're just getting yourself in these situations where you aren't thoughtful or disciplined, and you just end up getting aggressive. And sometimes that aggression can come out when you feel like you're needing to follow strict rules, but sometimes those rules, like, you're not really having to, no one's telling you to follow certain rules. It's more of an inner thing that's happening. But yeah, this is your core themes of 2023. And I know there's blessings with this too. And I'll get onto the blessings. Don't worry. It feels like a very powerful year of change, especially with this Phoenix. So we have some cards of like, why is this your theme? Why is it your theme? So we have miracles. And I think this is reassurance telling you that you have no idea the greatness that your life can be once you tackle these things, because there is so much tension building up because you are so scared. You are so scared to confront this, but you have no idea what miracles are coming for you. And this is, wow, decisive focus, sacred action. It's time for you to act. It is time for you to act. I wonder if pile 2, you guys have had this pattern that you've started to notice, or maybe you're going to notice it when I say it, of just hoping that some kind of miracle will happen so that you don't have to take action, or some out of nowhere, you're just going to have the motivation to act. And we spoke earlier about bravery. And this is about you mustering and cultivating bravery to act. But decisive focus, sacred action. I love that. Fearlessness, removing obstacles. It is time for you to start getting these obstacles out of your way. I feel like for some of you in pile 2, there is I don't want to say addiction, but it might be more complicated than an addiction, but some of you are addicted to certain types of personalities that aren't soft with you. Like, there are some good friends that you've got where it's like you can have a laugh with and it's all good, but there's certain frustrations that start to happen, and I think it's just calling you to look at these obstacles and make some decisions. Yeah, then we have the power to give and receive healing. Would it make sense for you guys, pile 2, that you're more sensitive than you let on, and you do need more time to heal? You need more time to heal and give to yourself. And I think give others your softness rather than this like big energetic, I I don't know, it feels like you run on nerves. You run on raw nerves. And it feels like you're very like, you either want to come out and be very like chatty or energetic, or you don't want to be around people at all. And this is about you creating more time to heal and nourish. Then we have go with the flow, letting go, cleansing, and receiving. So we have two things of receiving. Maybe these chatty, I keep getting this like chatty energy, and it's like a fast-paced energy. So maybe some of these things in your life that are a little bit more fast-paced aren't giving you much. You're not actually receiving much fulfillment from these things. They might be fun, they might be entertaining, it might be interesting, but it's actually feeding it like more of an addictive quality in you to help you avoid certain things. And actually you need a softer energy. Yeah, then we have river of blessings, releasing constraints. It feels a lot softer. You need a softness of energy, because I'm going to be honest, I think in 2023, you guys are coming to terms with yourself. There are some relationships that are around you that do not benefit your spirit. They might be fun, you might appreciate them, but they do not feed and nourish deeper parts of yourself. And I think it's easier for you to avoid deeper parts of yourself when you're engaging in certain actions. But then you look at your life and you're like, why aren't I where I want to be? Why haven't I really taken action in certain places? Why do I feel like a failure? And it is all interconnected in ways that I do feel that maybe you'd been avoiding. And there are blessings that are going to come into your life. So we have surrender to passion. So I do feel like you are a very passionate person, pile 2. You are a passionate person. You have energy. That's why you like to be around these energetic environments. You need to learn to get out of your head and feel the fire in your belly and focus on your own life. Focus on the people or activities that ignite your passions. Maybe your life is lacking creativity and passion and things where you put your energy into that pays off. So this year, 2023, is about you focusing on what you're really passionate about and getting rid of these, I'm hearing the word like pseudo passions. Is it pseudo? I don't know. Like false passions, misdirected energy, because all of this, surrender unhealthy relationships, all of these unhealthy relationships that you have to people and to things almost feels like misdirected or misunderstood passionate energy. And because you are sensitive, but you're also fiery. Pile 2. You're sensitive, but you're also fiery. Then we have surrender outdated beliefs about yourself. So we have let go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. Again, I feel like there is someone, pile 2, in your life who you love, but they are toxic. They're just toxic. And again, there can be a shift here, a transformation if you are more direct with the person, and you need to be less afraid of the unnecessary things being purged from your life. And maybe a belief that this is surrender outdated beliefs about yourself, surrender outdated beliefs that you have about other people, surrendering outdated beliefs about what you think people mean to you as well. Let go of limiting ideas about yourself that originate from the past. Then you can own your power and soar in your life. And then you deserve to be treasured by other people and to be surrounded by positive people. In 2023, I do feel like there's going to be this big shift in how you relate with people and how you relate with yourself. And it's important for you to believe that you can do better. You can get better as well. You can have better. You can have better passions. You can have better friends. You can have both. You can have people who are energetic and give you that wee wham and the fire that you want, but without the toxicity, without the ghosting and the inconsistency, without feeling like, I don't know as a side piece, but feeling like an afterthought. You can be the main piece. As well as having those like fiery interactions. Now, what are the blessings coming to you, pile 2, in 2023? We have eternal memories. The best things in life are the people you've loved, the places you've seen, and the memories you've made along the way. I love that. I wonder if some of you are afraid to let certain relationships be put into the past. Please know, like, forget-me-nots is actually, it's funny, it's a flower tincture, and you can take it as a flower remedy that helps you to respect and love your soul family. But understand too that you can love people from a distance. They don't have to be a part of your life now, especially if they're not benefiting you. I think some of you need to learn to put the past in the past. If you find yourself, though, constantly abandoning the people who really love you in favor for these high energy but toxic relationships, this is a time for you to focus on the people who you've really made memories with and the people who really love you. But that's a blessing that's coming for you, is just more of a sense of who really loves you. And if you have been struggling to let go of somebody, I do feel like that is going to be a blessing for you, is to be able to finally let them go, but still have the love in the relationship rather than forcing yourself to hate them or have an argument with them for the relationship to end. We have victory and conquest. Nastatim. He who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. I feel that this is a year for you guys of self-mastery, knowing what your patterns are, knowing yourself, being able to, I feel like some of you have like small milestones that you will hit in 2023. We have elegance and patience. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. It's funny how you have two Lao Tzu quotes. Very, it's funny because these bottom three cards as well, Healing Earth, Go with the Flow, River of Blessings. It really is like a cooling energy. You need some cooling energy, pile two, in your 2023 to make it the best that spirit wants it to be. And it doesn't mean completely getting rid of your fire, but it's like tempering it with cooler energy, with elegance, with patience. And then we have strength and strength of character and moral integrity. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Gladiola, which kind of reminds me of like a gladiator. Really that like, you know, you are fighting for yourself in a good way in 2023. And you are developing yourself into a person that you are going to be proud of and that stands by the values and the morals that you have. And again, I keep going back to this shark card, but it feels like some of you just don't confront your BS, like the BS that you engage in. There's values that you have that you don't stand for. There are ways of life that you value and believe in, but you don't act in alignment with those things. And it is hard to. And I think because you have so many old beliefs about yourself, about like what you must do to live a comfortable life or what you must do to be happy, or just again, like old patterns that are based on maybe fears of not being able to get better or fears of not being able to survive. I think I remember the base card of this deck being Surrender Your Fear of Change. Surrender Your Fear of Change, which also the Phoenix speaks of as well. And I think this is going to be a really powerful year for you guys in pile 2 for 2023. And I feel like it's going to create a lot more room for what's really important to you. It's going to make a lot more room for what's really important to you. Again, remember, please, that this, the desires, like things aren't just going to happen for you. You have to choose to act, or life and cosmic energy will just shift things in a way where you'll lose. So whilst the energy is in your control, make the choices that you believe in, because you've got this, pile 2. In 2023, it's time for you to take sacred action that you believe in. No more games, no more impulsivity, no more reactivity. You are going to really evaluate and make the decision. Not just evaluate and stew. No, evaluate and act. And I do feel that the people who are your true soul fam, they won't just let you walk out so easily. The people who really care and love you, they're not just going to let you go so quick, because there are deep soul friendships. In some of this energy, there are some deep soul friendships that will last, and they want to help you. They are probably your more smoother, subtler, more watery friends. They might actually be water signs, but they help you with your healing. They help you go with the flow. They help you to let go. They help you to release constraints. Okay? When the conversations happen. All right. I hope this makes sense, pile 2. I'm excited for your 2023. It sounds like a powerful year to become a powerful new you. And I'm very excited for you. If you would like an additional reading or something a little bit more personal, because again, this is a general message, please feel free to check out my coffee shop, or you can access more videos over on my Patreon. I will see you guys over there if you do. But other than that, take care. Have a great 2023 and look after yourselves. Bye. Yo, what's up, pile 3? I hope you're well. This is your pile. So firstly, you guys have the crow as one of your themes for the year ahead. And this was telling me that you guys, it's really important for you to have regular self-study in your life, because when you don't take the time to self-reflect, you're a very sensitive soul, but there's also an element here of you sometimes struggling with stagnation. I don't get that from the crow, but from the crocodile. This year, it feels like you are getting back into the swing of actual self-study again, or some kind of spiritual study. And if you have found yourself having a lot of spiritual study, it's more about making sure you're being around joyful friends. The idea is that you have both joyful friends, a healthy diet, and regular self-study. That is what helps the crow thrive. And when it doesn't have that, it feels tired, it feels hypersensitive and agitated. And I feel for you guys that maybe you found the best sides of yourself and the best parts of your life when you went into more introspective places, when you looked at certain parts of yourself and regularly just were able to work through your emotions and work through things just by asking yourself more about yourself. I'm hearing you're inquiring more about your attachments, why you get attached the way that you do, because I don't know if that makes sense to you on a personal level. As I said, this is a pick-a pile, so I don't know how personal this gets sometimes, but I kind of just get this impression that sometimes you get attached to things, and that is what gets your feathers in a ruffle, and maybe why you withdrew from certain self-study, because it was actually making you confront something that you weren't ready to confront yet. It was kind of maybe forcing you to see that maybe you'd been going about a relationship the wrong way, or you'd been going about your relationships in the wrong way in many different ways. That's including friendships, but maybe romantically, and maybe even just how you get attached to certain types of results. That can be from your work effort, but I do feel that this is more about your relationships, your passions, and your heart, your interests. And this could be, maybe you really started to, invest into learning a certain art, a healing art, or, taking some kind of course, and you set it up in your head to be a certain way. And maybe the teacher wasn't what you expected, or the results of it wasn't exactly what you wanted. And it's kind of this thrashing around that happens where all the eggs kind of get thrown out the basket, and you don't want that to happen again. You have realized that it's important for you to find your own rhythm and way to include self-study, whatever that might look like in your life. You can do that through astrology. You can do that through therapy. You can do that through journaling or just asking yourself questions. It's really important that you do that, make time and space for that. So that's going to be one of your big themes in 2023. And it's going to create this spiritual strength in you. And I'm not sure if you relate with this, of feeling kind of spiritually weak. Maybe you took a pause or a break, or maybe you've always battled with these ebbs and flows of feeling very spiritually strong and more sure of yourself, and then the complete opposite. And it's important for you, again, when you ever get into that space, pile 3, remember joyful friends, healthy diet, regular self-study. That is what is going to bring you back into balance. Now, the next card we have is the Eagle. This is you confronting truths and transforming karmas. Anything that, and we were picking up on this earlier, anything that you were not ready to confront in 2022 or even before that, you are ready to face in 2023. And there is this holiness, there's a sacredness in you tackling this thing. It's not with a heaviness. This is from the Eagle card, and they know the eagle, or the eagle is known as a divine messenger. And I kind of just get this impression of not going into the emotion so much and the weight of things and your disappointments, but really having a clear mind and saying, this is being a problem, this is an issue for me, and what am I going to do to fix this? What am I going to do to solve it? You are much stronger than you think. And this year in 2023, I feel like you are finally realizing that you are strong enough to take on these challenges. And there is an element of controlling in this pile and in the Eagle card. In the negative, the Eagle is watching out over everything in its kingdom. It is watching everybody's micro movements, everyone's mannerisms, everyone's behaviors, and it's keeping its eye out for any fluctuations in the emotional realms and in people's feelings. And you may see yourself doing this, detecting people's feelings towards you, or comparing how people feel towards you and their behavior towards you compared to different people. And what happens is this ends up in an isolation where you start to withdraw from the relationships, from your observations, but it's not the full truth. And some of this is going unspoken. And in 2023, it's a year where you are going to start transforming these patterns that you have around this. And I think it's natural to observe and look at these patterns, but you are realizing how sometimes this is destructive for you. And then you start to get controlling. You might not realize it, but the pulling away from things is an unconscious way to control the relationship. You are hoping that this person is going to meet you, and this is not a conscious negative trait. It is a survival mechanism. It's an unconscious way to try and gain control back of the situation where you don't know where you stand. And that is scary. It is scary to love, adore, or like people or things, and then it kind of feel like the rug is being pulled under your feet, or things are shifting without much communication to you, and you're just trying to make best with what you have. And this is a year where you're really trying to transform this pattern, because you're realizing that maybe when you were a kid, that pulling away and being in a mood was something that worked. People were like, oh, they're in a mood. I can see they're in a mood. But there's something about the digital era coming through. I hope that makes sense. There's something about how either the people around you are less noticeable for moods, or it's something to do with them not actually being able to see your emotions. That is at its core, is that these people that you want to understand what is going on with you and how you feel about what they don't they are not being able to see your feelings, whether that's because it's behind a computer screen or behind messages, and they're physically just not seeing you, or maybe you're masking, and when you do see them, you're pretending everything's fine. Either way, the other party can't see. So this is something that you really, I feel, want to transform in 2023. And this is something that, again, I think the crow supports that with that. I want to be around joyful friends. I want to be a joyful friend. I'm going to self-study, and I'm going to be honest and look at these patterns and not be afraid of it. Now, the crocodile is a theme of you learning how to cool off before you make a decision, learning how to wait, and not just sitting on your ass and hoping things resolve themselves. This is an intentional withdrawal so that you can observe and let things unfold, and so you can cool off before making any decisions, before making or taking any actions. And this is also about you filling your cup back up. This is about you finding rejuvenation again. And it's funny because with the crocodile in a stagnant sense, or like in a negative sense, the crocodile, he gets stagnant and then he thrashes around and lashes out at people. This might be a tendency that you have, and maybe with some self-study, maybe you can reflect more on this, because again, general reading, I can't diagnose you with having this, but it's worth reflecting on. It reminds me of this fact: 68% of relationships usually start to have conflicts when one or more of the people in the relationship start to stagnate or are unhappy with another area of their life. And then because they're unhappy with another area of their life, it starts to bleed into their relationships. And that's what it makes me think of, is sometimes maybe as well when a relationship starts to stagnate, or this can just be generally in life, when you start to feel like you're stagnating, watch the tendency to start thrashing around and lashing out and making impulsive decisions. The crocodile wants you to learn how to cool down, stay calm, submerge, and just wait for things to pass a little bit more. Because I wonder if you have felt maybe robbed of love, friendship, joy, opportunities from this. I do think this is just going to help your life become more fulfilling. The eagle, I forgot to mention, does represent this process, and this is a theme for you in 2023, pile 3, of just really embracing and going for this goal of, I want to shine and I want to become the best person that I can be, and not in an unrealistic sense, but just, it really is just about trying to become a better person. So in 2023, pile 3, one of your themes is really just, how do I get the best out of myself? How can I just be happy? And there's a lot of different areas in life that I feel like you're focusing on, but it involves these core themes. And the base card of this, so this is like the basis as well, was the golden egg. And this is about your relationships and fostering an intimacy with yourself. Maybe you've had that intimacy with yourself, but you've lost it. But this is about really getting into a meditation practice, some kind of self-reflection practice, and tuning into your very essence and asking yourself these deep questions that are weighing heavy on your heart. And these are the types of questions that are like, am I loved by this person? Am I appreciated by this person? And really sitting in that heart space, in that quietness, not letting your ego or your trauma reply, but really listening to what is being said. And the funny thing is that I do feel that you guys, when you start tapping into this, there is a vulnerability that you guys are working on. Maybe this need to control situations at times, control the borders of how you can feel for someone or what type of access they have to you. Obviously, if somebody's genuinely toxic, boundaries are, I feel like this is touching on a completely different issue than people, you know, being toxic and ruthless towards you. But you are learning how to feel your own vulnerability underneath these guards and your, I don't know whether to call it a mask. I do get the word mask. Like, you know your game. You know what you're doing sometimes. You know how you keep things to yourself. You know how you create distance and pull away. You know how you observe what you observe. You know how you create conclusions. And you know how you instinctively react to those things. And this is whatever that means to you, that is what you're working on in 2023. And I really want you to know that spirit, God, the universe, your guides, your ancestors, whatever you believe in, they feel you and they can feel your hurt. I do feel that there is this, you're just wanting to protect parts of you that you don't fully understand yet. And when you tune into this place in you, although it's scary and vulnerable at first, when you can befriend that part of you, it is your inner child, your inner baby. And there's also an innocence there as well. And there's so much lovability in there too that is just waiting to be discovered and shared. And even if it's just sharing it with yourself, but I do feel eventually it's going to be shared in your relationships. And this is no forcing, no pushing. It will unfold at its right time. And there'll sometimes be these uncomfortable moments in there. It's not always going to be comfortable, but discomfort is not a sign that something isn't right. It's probably just a sign that it's unfamiliar. And then because you've built this relationship with your heart, you can take a step back and ask yourself, are you comfortable in sharing your vulnerability? Because if you found yourself being in a situation where you just keep hitting the same ceiling of how close you feel with people, this is your key. This is a big key unlocking in your relationships this year, pile 3. And those are just the first 4 cards. I'm looking forward to getting into some more. I'm hoping this is making sense. So these next cards are, why are these your themes? And just for extra confirmation, I feel like we've already said a lot. Okay. Bright heart light, open connections, duality, many meanings, misunderstandings, the circle of eternal joy, timelessness, the dance of life, becoming something new, feminine wisdom, passion, sensuality, and hostilities, conflict and unrest. I feel like this is just kind of confirming what we were getting already, that you have this really big heart and you are open to your friends, you're open to these connections, but you get these misunderstandings and sometimes interpret things like there's many different meanings to what people do, and you can't just keep assuming. You can't assume. But that's also, you can't just assume somebody's always has good intentions. You can't always just be assuming that somebody always is a certain way. For some of you, I do feel that some of you may be continuing to justify certain relationships that just, if you don't feel like you could straight up say like, hey, I'm not feeling so fresh about this thing. If you don't feel like they could respond to that, like, are you just making excuses for them and for that person? But you're ready to drop assumptions. Some of you are just ready to understand that sometimes there are just ebbs and flows to the relationship. Firstly, this dance of life, this timelessness. There are ebbs and flows. There's always going to be closeness and distance when it comes to relationships. And it is up to us to manage our own feelings in those flows and understand the meanings to that and not come to misunderstandings. But also too, you know, we don't always have to control and bridge the gap by like forcing, but you can do like more gentleness, more gentle check-ins. I feel like you're completely changing how you go about these things in your life. This can also have to do with beyond relationships as well. So interpret it through whatever lens, away from relationships if you want. This could apply to your career of like feeling open and searching for things that are meaningful to you, and then you get too many ideas and then none, and you feel lost. And this is just a dance of life. There's always going to be these ebbs and flows of birthing and quietness, and of activity and inactivity. And look at the meanings that you are assigning these phases, including the meanings that you assign these good phases. Are these good phases really a result of the things that you have done? Because then you might try to replicate those things and get frustrated with yourself and like, oh no, this good phase happened because I did a juicing fast for 3 weeks. Okay, I'm gonna have to repeat that again whilst I'm in this inactivity cycle. And you know, and then you get yourself in this weird like burnout phase. This is just an example that some of you might relate to. I hope you kind of understand the essence of what I'm trying to talk about. There's the feminine wisdom here, which I feel like is you firstly understanding your emotions, understanding your instincts. There's a lot about instincts here. And there's also understanding natural time and not letting that cause so many conflicts. There's a lot of funny how there's like women and cats, and it feels like just really taming those instinctive emotions, because you are I feel like you're quite an intense person. You might not realize it. You get your emotions intensely. You feel things intensely. And 2023, I feel, is this time of mastering these things so that you can be happy in your relationships. Let's take a look at some bonus cards. So we have surrender to rest and sleep. Surrender your fear of change. Surrender your need to always be right. Surrender your need to always be right. So I do think this is kind of confirming this withdrawal. Like sometimes you guys need to stop pushing your pedal to the floor when it's just simply a time to rest. It says to prevent burnout, slow down, honor your need for quiet time and peaceful sleep to rejuvenate your mind, body, and spirit. This could also be in relation to these like reactions. When you start to get these emotional reactions, what you might not know or what you're being encouraged to start noticing is that it might actually have something to do with your energy levels. You might become more irritable because you've not been taking care of yourself. So this is just encouragement to surrender to some rest. All good change will just happen over time. You don't need to upheave and use all your energy resources to force a change or even to keep things the same, interestingly enough. The next card is the universe is reminding you that you are cared for always. Whether you're afraid of change in your job, your health, or a relationship, or if you fear aging or death, repeat the affirmation, I have faith that all is well. And trusting. I feel pile 3 in 2023, you guys are really going to start learning to trust the natural changes, the ebbs, the flows, and recognize that there is no love lost, that you never lose in these scenarios. The only way, the only reason and way you lose is when you get yourself in these like really prickly emotional spaces, and when you forget that you can still love somebody even though they're not in your life. You don't have to be robbed of your good emotions, even if it's not being actively reciprocated with or received by this person, you don't have to rob yourself of the love that was shared. Now, the relationship, the situation, what you loved and now is changing, like, you can just allow the next part of your journey to unfold without thinking that this other thing had to stay there or had to be a certain way. Remember that attachments to results thing. Sometimes your fear of change is more so about you latching on to things meaning to be a certain way. And the universe knows better. The universe knows more than you sometimes. And it will help you so much more to, again, cool off, take a bit of a step back and be like, I have faith that whatever is leaving my life, I have faith that it'll all be taken care of. And also sometimes reassuring yourself that things are fine. Things might not be leaving your life, even though you get so scared that it feels like it is. Some of you need to reassure yourself that all is well. This is not your traumatic childhood anymore. You're an adult now. Things aren't just going to be taken away from you because you misbehave or you're lazy for a month. Well, what you think is lazy for a month. This is not that. You are your own adult now. And yes, there is a degree of consequence if we neglect. There's a degree of consequence if we emotionally react and are hostile. And if we're always in conflict. People don't like conflict. Well, not regularly. Good doses of conflict are good, but so there are consequences for certain things, but you sometimes are reacting and feeling like, oh my God, everything's going to fall apart. Everything's going to change and everything's going bad. And it's actually not. Things are fine. So please reassure yourself and learn to have faith that everything's going to be all right. And if it's not all right, then you'll be able to handle it. And a phrase you might like is, if it's not okay in the end, then it's not the end. If it's not okay in the end, then it's not the end. Now, we have this surrender your need to always be right. And I do think that maybe some of your conclusions that you get about other people, where you think your life's heading, whatever it is, but you are so observant and you reach this, you're very intelligent. So you reach this kind of conclusion that makes sense. Humans are really good at pattern recognition. We're really good at observing multiple pieces of information and seeing what ties in and makes sense and developing a theory that makes perfect sense. But sometimes what you don't realize in that is that there is a lot of counter information that you delete, you ignore. Your brain literally will not filter or pick it up as intensely as this theory that you're focusing on. For example, all of your coworkers can be being moody with you. You might start to be like, oh, and Sandra didn't, look at me when I made coffee this morning. And Robert, he didn't even address me and ask me for the minutes in the meeting. And, maybe this is because like 2 weeks ago, I was late with my Secret Santa present and Norris was really excited about it. And oh my God, in fact, Norris has been kind of funny with me. Hang on, let me just go check Facebook and see if they've still have me as a friend on Facebook. And it can just start to spiral. But then what you might forget is that Ashley, I'm so bad at like pulling names out my ass. Ashley, who works at the front desk, gave you a big hearty hello when you came in and you just don't even realize the heart and the good things. Although people in your life do have good input. I know you enjoy being right. I know you enjoy being correct because that is a way to keep yourself safe and things in control. And oftentimes you probably are somewhat right about things. You're being asked to yield, be yielding, be a little bit more flexible. Because this is going to help you resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. I do feel that I wonder if somebody keeps maybe bringing things up to you and you just swat it away like defensively. I feel like this is more men in this pile. I'm going to be honest. I just feel like in a masculine energy that like someone might bring something over and you swat it away and you're like, nah. Like you're not really like feeling and being imprinted by, you know, and letting yourself be open to suggestion. And I think that it does take work to get yourself in that kind of space. And for, you know, for I think even for the women in this pile, and this is the thing too, like some of you might have heard me say, oh, this is for the men in the pile. And then you swat away like, oh, well, so this is incorrect because I'm only talking about the men. That is an example of that, surrendering your need to always be right. Because we all have this tendency, well, pile 3, you all have this tendency somewhere. Where do you always think you're right? Where in your life do you always think you're right? Is it in your relationship opinions? Is it about what you should be doing with your life? Where is it? And see if you can breathe in a bit more air and create a little bit more flexibility, because this maybe sometimes is what you're defending too. And this can create these, maybe your hostilities and your conflict comes from just, maybe you just get really irritated when someone does something wrong and like you're the one that's in the right. Sometimes you gotta let it go. Sometimes you're just gonna have to learn to let it go. And even just saying like, okay, well, maybe they are right. Maybe they are right. There's something really liberating in those moments. And it's not trying to do so in a controlling way. It's like the inverse of that. And that actually gives you so much more feelings of security. You are going to feel so much better in yourself, and feel so much more secure, so much more at peace. So what blessings are coming to you in 2023? I feel like this pile has probably been the longest, but it's been needed. It has been very much needed. Pile 3, what are your blessings coming in to 2023? What blessings are coming your way, especially due to this work that you are going to be doing? So we have majesty and virtue. The lily is the emblem rare of many virtues, good and rare. I feel like this is a maturity and you really feeling more graceful. I feel like you are going to be having like a higher moral integrity of how you nourish yourself, how you take care of yourself, treating yourself more like a queen or a king, but more in the, I feel like the feminine sense of self-care and giving to yourself. One of the things that the Lily card says is it's not about what you say or what you feel that matters. It's not enough to talk about what is virtuous. In the end, it's what you actually do that counts. Let your actions come from virtue. The next blessing in 2023 is Snapdragon. Graciousness and benevolence. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. And I've heard about the snapdragons before as a flower, and it talks about, so as a flower remedy, snapdragon helps you to not react, especially if you find yourself being a verbal reactor, maybe sometimes being a little bit of vicious, maybe sometimes being a little bit of a dick, and it could just be, you know, out of the defense. I don't know if this relates to you in any area of your life, but you can look into Snapdragon as a flower essence. But I love how this is I do feel like you are going to start feeling like you can be kind and it takes nothing of you. And I feel like this is how you may have been for a long time in your past. Like maybe you had always found yourself caring and valuing people who are unconditionally loving, generous, charitable, giving. And I can't help but feel like maybe there's just some situation where you just, somebody or too many people just took too much without you taking care of yourself and replenishing, and it created this snappy attitude. But in 2023, one of your blessings is you feeling a little bit more benevolent again, feeling a little bit more in touch with your spirit and feeling a lot more graceful. I feel like you've really missed that tranquility, that and just like a trust and a spirit a peace in your spirit that you'd carry, and also this wonderment as well. But I love that no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. I do feel like there's a blessing here as well of maybe these people that you had given things to that betrayed you, or you're no longer in touch with, and maybe you had hurt feelings about that. It feels like there's going to be a turn of the tides where you are letting go of that bitterness or that resentment, and you realize that, your kindness that you gave to that person, it wasn't a waste, even though it hasn't resulted maybe in the relationship that you want currently. It was never a waste. It was never ever a waste. And I think that it was truly, good of you and good of your heart. And if you can see that you were just giving out of the goodness of your heart, and that eventually, like, somehow, some way, like, it was not a waste. Because energetically, if it didn't go to that person, it bounced into the ether and went somewhere else. The next blessing you have is choices, knowledge, and illumination. White are the flowers of the apple tree that brings us fruits of fertility. I feel that Pile 3 in 2023, one of your blessings is you're going to know a lot more. And you're going to be able to make wise choices. And I do wonder if sometimes you guys feel that you don't have choices, that you don't have a choice, that your only choices are limited or to react. I just feel like you're going to feel like there is so much more space for you to breathe and make choices, especially to bring in things that you have been wanting for a long time, but maybe you had been too scared to have, or maybe you just didn't know how to go about doing it. And it feels like this year you're going to be shown what needs to be changed in your life. You're going to be shown, and I think this is going to be through experiences, but sometimes just epiphanies. And again, do not forget regular self-study, because I do feel this directly linked. The choices and the illumination and the knowledge is going to come from your regular self-study. And from that, you're going to learn about your tendencies. You're going to learn about your patterns, and you're going to see the things that you're doing and the things in your life that are just taking up your space, taking up your time, taking up your energy, that can be used on what you really want. So from your self-study and your self-reflection, you're going to be able to make better choices. You're going to be able to choose, who you want to spend your time with. And this isn't always going to be like hostilely ending relationships, but okay, this one of your relationships isn't as available right now. There's an ebb. The ebb and flow is in full ebb, and there has been a withdrawal. And rather than you feeling like a lost puppy who just wants their friend back, who isn't being given attention to or love to, you're going to be able to be like, okay, there's an ebb here. What do I choose now? Do I choose to moodily withdraw and hope that they give me my attention? Or am I gonna make a choice of, okay, let's see what other connections are available for me? Because where the ebb and flow goes, there's always gonna be if your tide is out, it's going into somebody else. Okay. And there can be new connections opening up, new ideas, new projects, new creativity to just come to bloom. And you're going to realize this is going to be one of your blessings in 2023, Pile 3, is just this, whoa, there's choices. I have choices. Your final blessing. Oh, I love this. Daffodil. Rebirth and new beginnings. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. So maybe there will be some endings to some pain that you probably have been going through for a while, or maybe some painful patterns that you have repeated. It is time for you to be rebirthed. We have this becoming something new as well. It is time for you to live as the adult you that you want to live as, because living from your childhood wounds and this unlovable self that you believe you are. It's only created more pain. And it's time now to live as the lovable adult you, free from the chains of your past. And it's time for you to begin anew and begin a new chapter with your self-love and your devotion to yourself, devotion to loving yourself. And there is a lot of beauty in this year, but I do feel like it's going to require you to confront the darkness that you've got, and not necessarily about your trauma. There is degrees where you're gonna have to be honest about what the fuck happened to you to get you to where you've got to now, but it's gonna be so fucking worth it. It's gonna be so worth it for you, because you are gonna shine. You're gonna thrive. You're gonna be surrounded by those joyful friends, that healthy diet and that regular self-study. You're gonna be able to cool off and know how to grow, and know how to wait as well. So I would say this is a great year for therapy, great year for getting healings done on a regular basis. I do feel like this is gonna be a process. It really truly is. And again, with that regular self-study though, you're gonna be able to see where you're at. You're not gonna need don't rely on the picker piles to tell you where you're at. Like, go into yourself, ask yourself, where are you at with these things? But yeah, and we all need breaks from our healing journey. This is not to say you need self-study all the time. It's a regular flow. It is a regular it's a regular flow that happens. But brilliant. Okay, I'm glad this happened. I'm gonna be honest, I did the first two piles really well, and then it took me a few days to get to this one, but I think I needed the time. Brilliant. This is so funny. I wonder if Reno is in this pile, because Reno, you've just randomly started talking in my Twitch chat whilst I'm recording this, wanting a reading. So I'm wondering if this is you. Anyway, take care, my loves. Thank you so much for supporting my content. If you resonated with this video, please leave a like and a comment letting me know what you thought. It feeds my beautiful little Mars Leo placement, which is in the 12th house. I really like getting validation that my spiritual messages are on fleek, because the reason why I like to do these messages is because I went so long without being validated, and my inner reality being unknown and unappreciated and unacknowledged, and all of my spiritual complexities. So it's really, really, really meaningful to me to know that what I'm saying is making sense. What I'm putting down, you're picking up. And it just makes my messages stronger. Okay. All right. Anyway, take care. If you want to see more of my content, please go check out Patreon. If you're already watching this on Patreon, then hey, what's up, early gang? And I appreciate you so much. Happy 2023. If you want to go into this deeper, you are welcome to order a private reading from me, or you can get one on stream. I would recommend getting one in private though. I'm feeling the shift more into private readings because I have just more time to get to them. And sometimes on my streams, I just end up chatting and using all my energy on chatting. Anyway, take care. I appreciate you guys. All the best.